Hey guys, here we are again, Monday. You know, this is a big Monday for me and the story. You know, I'm a little wiggly waggly. I mean, I was at a pool party Saturday with my whole team. Got a little tanked for the first time in a long time. And so I'm a little wobbly with stuff. But this is a great show today. I want to announce that we've been doing this for 3.5 years, our podcast, and it went over 100 million views. It's at 100,200,000 views, I think, as of today. And this is a big day. I got some champagne here. We're going to open up a little later when there's some more people on and celebrate a little bit. Thanks to you guys. I could have never did this without you guys. That's for sure. So now, what are we looking at now? 150 million, if that's possible.
Amen.
But it is possible because I want to tell you a few things. First of all, let me tell you, Saturday we went to this pool party. It was outrageous. Got a little tanked. Got a little nasty with it. I mean, not nasty, but friendly with a lot of, women at the party, and everybody's taking a fit. My wife saw some of the pictures. What's happening? I said, Deb, I can't help it. They attacked me. It wasn't my fault. And I was a little drunk. I didn't fight back too hard. So I think some of you guys will see some of the pictures, and everybody wanted to take a selfie. They knew about that we were making movies. It was really a fun time. We had a blast. I mean, he's a good friend of mine, and Anna's is multi-millionaire, and he lives in Scottsdale. What's that? Paradise Valley. Beautiful, beautiful home. He had a turtle there that's like fucking 200 pounds. It lives 200 years. I think it was 10 years old, he said.
Yeah.
It doesn't get horny, thank God, until it's 20 years old. I actually petted and walked around. He had a dog that was sniffing on me. I think he was interested in Lily. And we really did have a great time. Great host. All kinds of, about 40, 50 people there. There was an Indian chief who was there. He lived across the street. He showed me his house across the street. And he knew me from years and years and years ago when my wife was running Uncle Sal's Italian restaurant. Very interesting conversation. So I apologized to him this morning because there was a blonde hanging on me on one arm, so I wasn't really paying too much attention to him. So I apologize, bro. I hope you understand. So, and then
local talent, Sammy.
There was local talent all over the place. It was really, we had a great time. Amina went, Anna, we went as a team, and we just had a blast. Amina was flirting all over the place.
Oh my God! I was not.
All right, a little flirt, I think it did. They looked great. They looked great. All these wealthy guys, I was getting jealous. They were all around Amina and so, and I don't blame them. So anyway, I want to shout out a few things. There's somebody here. What was her name again?
So Connie.
Connie. Mm-hmm. Connie sent me a beautiful, beautiful card. It's Deadwood,
South Dakota.
South Dakota. And it's a great card with a cowboy with a gun and a deck of cards and stuff with a beautiful note inside. And I love you too, Connie. And I appreciate this card. I'm hanging it in my office. I brought it here to show everybody, but I'm going to hang that right in my office. There's another guy here. What was his name again?
Robbie Gasser.
Robbie Gatha?
Gasser.
Gasser?
Mm-hmm.
Robbie Gasser gave me a T-shirt, a red T-shirt, and over here is the Bonanno family. But it keeps going on and on. The Colombo family, Gambino family, Genovese family, Lucchese family. Robbie, next time you get a shirt, put the Gambino family up on top, please. The Bonannos are supposed to be on the bottom somewhere. But I appreciate the shirt. And I appreciate the gifts and everything that's going on. I was in touch. I want to talk about this a little bit before we get going with my friend James Carroll. We started this Our Thing podcast 3.5 years ago. Now, 100 million is a big number. Now, 100 million in 3.5 years, it's an enormous number. So we really did great. And now I'm talking with James Carroll again. We've always been friends. We did this, for years we were working together. And then he was doing a couple of things, directing, and was doing movies. So we went a little bit our own way. But we never stopped being friends. I'm friends with his family, his wife, kids, the whole 9 yards. The same with him. He knows my wife, he knows my son, he knows my daughter, he knows my whole family. So we've been friends a very long time. And we hooked up again to make a remaster of Our Thing. And in the 3.5 years, you guys helped me in a way. When you ask me all these questions, sometimes it comes back to me about a story or something. So when we do this, it's going to be a podcast, basically, I believe, only. But there's going to be a lot more stories in it. It's going to be done a lot better. We're even talking about doing a season 6. We're not sure, but we may do a season 6 to close out Our Thing. And then it'll start again from season 1, probably to season 10. We're going to do 9 episodes every season, which is 90 episodes, and they'll be more lengthy. They'll be from anywhere between 35 minutes to 40, 42 minutes, something like that. We're not sure whether they're going to add filming to it. It's going to be a lot of work. So both of us are busy, but we're going to, make time to do it and do it right. And we just have more stories, better technology, better recording equipment, better everything. I think you guys are going to love it. But we're also working on a whole bunch of things that's going to come out on OurThing.tv. I'm really hooked up with some really big, beautiful people, good people. And we're going to do possibly crime stories. Now, we don't even know the title of it. So right now, I'm just going to call it American Crime Stories. But it may be my stories in that, way, other people's stories. So we're working on that. We're working on a ton of different things that'll come up in OurThing.tv sooner or later. It may take a little bit of time. And I really appreciate everything you guys have been doing. We're going to do another thing with a little bit of a raffle. I don't know if we want to talk about that now or we want to talk about that later.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Talk about it right now.
Yep.
The people who made donations, we're going to do what we did before. We did that raffle, if you remember. Somebody won. First prize was a personal interview with me. Some of them were my pictures signed. Some of them were baseballs signed and sent to you. We're going to do that again with everybody who did what?
The super chats.
In the super chats, right, the super chats. So we're going to pick all of them who did super chats, and we're going to put them in a new raffle, do the same exact thing. And I also said we're going to pick out a lot of people who didn't do super chats and just pick out names at random and put them in there. There's El Gato is someone who I'm fond of. I like the name. I know he's coming from Sicily. So it's not rigged, but I said throw that name in there. Throw El Gato in there, and Betty Ann and a whole bunch of people who've been really, really good to us. Betty Ann has been in the super chats. She got a little cheap lately, but that's okay. I'll throw her in. I still love her. It don't matter. And so I'm going to throw some people in there. We're going to pick out names. We're going to do another super chat for them. And some people who are in the super chat, of course, and people who are not in there. I didn't want to make it just about money. I wanted other people too. So we're picking out different names at random and throwing it together. And it'll be a big giveaway. Later, I'll open up this bottle of champagne. We're going to celebrate, 3.5 years to go over 100 million views. And our original conversation with James Carroll, when we started, he said, Sammy, we're going to get 20, 25 million views. I said, yeah, all right. I don't know how the fuck we're going to get 25 million views. I mean, that's crazy. Now it's crazy. 3.5 years, we're over 100,200,000 as of today. So I'm amazed with that number. And I know I didn't do it, and I didn't do it all with the help of my friend James Carroll and my team and all of you people. If it wasn't for you people, we would have nowhere near this. So, and we do have goals to go higher. I believe when the movies, when this strike is finally over and we do the movies, I think we're going to blow up more. And when we get this Now a Thing website set up properly with the proper stuff, it's going to be packed and you guys are going to love it. And I'm not held back in how I'm talking, so, and I'm starting to get a lot of messages with that, with the bullpen. There's Michael Vecchione and Jay Dyer, Anna and myself, and we're talking about, I mean, serious stuff that's going on, and it's going to be great. I think we're getting better and better. I think I'm getting a little younger each time. I went to my VA and I took all my tests this month. It was 13 months ago when they did all of these tests, blood tests, everything, and they did it again. And they compared it. I have a female doctor, and she says, wow. She says, you're actually in better health than you were last year, which is, feels good. So I, joking with her, I says, you think I'll make 80? She said, you want to know something on a serious note? She got me a little nervous. I said, yeah, what? She said, if you keep it up like this, I think you'll make it into your 90s easily. I laughed. She said, Sammy, I have patients in their 90s, and one guy's is 100 years old. So the way you look and all these blood tests and everything, you could be there. So I appreciate that. It was enjoyable to hear that. She says, unless you get hit by a car. So now she's got me looking at cars and everything else. But I want to let you know that that's going good. And as far as smoking cigars, she told me, did you stop smoking cigarettes? I said, I did, but I smoke cigars. She says, good. Cigarettes are enormously bad because they put chemicals in them. It really destroys people's bodies. Not only lungs, it does a lot of damage. She said, cigars, it's tobacco, but it's not, there's no chemicals in it. So it's nowhere near as bad. She said, I want you to stop, but take your time. The other one that's important, I'm afraid of with people, is cigarettes. So a lot of you guys, even women out there, there's these thin little cigars like this. There's some that are even thinner. You're going to puff on something, puff on a cigar. There's no chemicals in this. And then wean yourself off. But cigarettes, she told me, honestly, that's a nightmare for people. So I wanted to relay that message to you guys as well. So, all right. So let's go to questions, and they're probably getting bored of me talking and bullshit.
Thank you, Sammy. Okay, let's start off with an email that you got last week. It was from Susan Sergio. She says, good evening, Mr. Gravano. Hoping this email finds you well, and I have been following you on social media for a while now. I've always been crazy over the Italian mafioso world since I was a young girl. I come from an all-Italian family from Massachusetts and just recently lost my father to heart failure. He was my world, Mr. Gravano. I talk to him every day. I have his caddy, which I'll make it a flower bed before I junk it when the time comes. My reason for writing to you is that I ask if you and your beautiful daughter, Karen, have a close father-daughter relationship. I just miss my father more than anything and thought maybe hearing your father-daughter relationship would somewhat bring back my life with my father. God bless, Mr. Gravano.
I think I heard that question a while ago, but I'll answer that again. My father-daughter relationship with my daughter is great, has always been great. She's hard-headed like I am, so we argue sometimes back and forth, and we always end up with a kiss and a hug. and the argument we had means nothing. So I've always had that kind of a relationship. Every time I needed somebody to take my back, my daughter was there.
Okay.
So, you know, and I'm glad you had that kind of a relationship with your dad and cherished all your good thoughts. And, you know, it's beautiful what you're saying about him, and what you intend to do is a beautiful thing. Fill his caddy with flowers, you know, at the end. That's a beautiful thing.
Okay, and then we have shout outs from last week that I'd like to give out. Carol Biondo, Jay Marie, Vinny Detroit, Benjamin Linus. You're the best, Sammy. Don't ever stop. And he gave a generous donation. Jessica Guest says, I have 2 words for you. Audiobook narrator. I'd listen to anything you narrate. Those are the shout outs. There's one more shout out from Israel Candido. Give Sammy a shout out from me to tell him thank you for all the storytelling coming from him. I learn a lot from him being the age I am, 24. Gracias.
Well, I appreciate all of you guys, great names, and I appreciate it. Now, I'll tell a quick little story in between. At the pool party, I met a black guy from out of the country, real tough guy, and he has a history as well. And when he came to me, he was talking to me, and he said, Sammy, I don't talk about it, and I have this stuff bottled up in me. I do have a history. He says, how do you feel by talking? I said, listen, I had this bottled up in me for years. Talking on my podcast, it brings back emotions to me, and even my Q&As. I said, but it gives me freedom. It lets them out. It gives me freedom. And he loved it. He shook my hand. He was smiling. He gave me a hug and a kiss. And he wrote a letter to Anna today. We don't have the letter, right?
Yes, we do, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Then read it.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Oh, it's on her phone.
So he had done, just a little backstory, he had done time at Parchment, which is one of the worst conditions of a jail or prison in Mississippi.
Right.
Just give me 1 second. His name is Marcus, and he was friends with the host, with Rob, and he just wanted to send like his immense thanks to Sammy, and how he said it's been extremely hard and I've been afraid. It was like Sammy saw through me and spoke to my core to not be afraid. I was speechless. Sammy's really something special. Nobody has touched my soul like that. Please just tell him and thank you. I wrote this last night, and after meeting Sammy, I just have so much more, but I've been afraid to say. And he wrote this little blurb, and it says, the streets made me, but God saved me. And his name is Marcus Hawkins. It's a little long, but, you know, it just talks about his hardships in life and how, like you said, this rage built up inside of him, and he was capable of doing, you know, horrible things, like,
Right.
you know.
Right. Listen, Marcus, it was a pleasure meeting you. If you can hear this, or you get to hear this, it was a pleasure meeting you. I know you're a tough guy, and sometimes it's hard to talk about things that were in the past, but getting them off your chest and talking about them, and it does make you emotional, it makes you a little nervous, it makes you scared, whatever it does, you're a man's man to admit it, and I love your note. It's great, and I'm glad I had that kind of an effect on you in a party when broads were hanging all over me, and I didn't even want to talk to you. But you were great, and I think you're great, and I appreciate your little letter. Lily's coming in. She hears this is going on, and now she's walking out. All right.
No, there's a couple more. Okay, so we have a question from Curtis Fogelsanger. Sending love from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. I have a question. Did you have any dealings with the Pittsburgh family? Love you and your crew. Your biggest fan, Kurt.
Yeah, I had very little dealings with the Pittsburgh family. I knew the family in Philly, and they had connections with them. And from what I understand, they were real good guys. It was a small family in where was it again? Philly. Pittsburgh.
Uh-huh.
It was a small family, actually, and but they were great guys, from what I understand. But I didn't have any dealings with them.
Okay. El Gato says, "Hi, Sammy. Sending love." Oh, wait. Never mind. Sorry. Wrong one. Okay. We'll go to the next one. We're all over it. Yeah.
Everybody's hungover.
Okay. Durcio Ferreira says, "Have you heard Joe the Animal Barboza?" So apparently he asked a question last week and said Joe the Animal ratted on Patriarcha and went into witness protection, and they tracked him down.
The guy, I believe, Joe the Animal Barboza, I believe he was the only guy who went into the witness protection program and was found and killed. I believe that was a black guy for the witness protection program. I remember them when they wanted me to go in the program, and I went with them for 8 months. Them telling me that story, because a lot of times I said, listen, don't get hyped up with this. Don't, stay off my back. I don't want somebody up my ass every 20 minutes. So they had mentioned that story to me. So I said, well, that's him. That's not me. So if it happens, it happens. It already happened. So don't be embarrassed if it happens again. Don't worry about it. But I remember it coming up with them, speaking with them about it. So I believe he was either the first or only guy who ever got killed in a witness protection program.
Okay. Annika Rasmussen, when you wanted to bribe or influence a politician, cop, or judge, how'd you go about it?
Lawyers. Heavyweight lawyers had connections with judges and prosecutors, and they deal with them all the time. They knew who would take a bribe and who wouldn't take it, so we would give them the money. They would pass it along for the bribe. It was always a middleman, and it was always a lawyer. They trusted, we trusted. It was a perfect middleman. So it was usually high-end lawyers who had connections with them, and that's how the money would pass.
Perfect. Bill Curtis asks, do you still hold on to grudges? As I get older, I try to let it go, but I find it tough to do so. I feel as though I'm just hurting myself. Billy in Boston.
Yeah, well, you got to let go of them. It depends on how much you cross that line, how much of a grudge it is. If you pass the line too far with me, I will never let go of that grudge. I will always have a grudge, but I don't let that grudge interfere with my life and everything else. I was betrayed by people. I don't want to start with the names, but I was betrayed by people, and I would never forget that. I don't forget it, but I let it go, and I don't bring it into other people. Just because I was betrayed a couple of times, I don't take it out on other people I didn't even meet, or I'm meeting and I'm worried about them betraying me or whatever. So carrying a grudge, you have to learn how to carry it. The grudge belongs to that one person, not to everybody around you. So put it on the side, go on with your life, and don't take it out on other people who don't deserve it.
Okay. Last one from Shane Dankowski. Sammy, did you know Vito Rizzuto?
Rizzuto, I know quite a few Rizzutos. Vito Rizzuto doesn't ring a bell. But I know a lot of Rizzutos. I don't know if they're related. It's a pretty common name. I know there's quite a few Rizzutos, so I'm not sure about Vito.
Okay, perfect. Anna, over to you, gorgeous.
Thank you, Amina.
Unless that's, let me jump in. Unless that's the guy Vito Rizzuto from Canada. If it's the guy Vito Rizzuto from Canada, then I don't know him personally. I know of him. I know some stories about him.
Yes, Montreal family.
He's from
That's
Canada. Okay, yes. He was a heavyweight in the family up there. And let me explain something. That wasn't a family. That was a part of the Gravano family. It was a captain, a crew went up there. Years later, they broke away and they created their own family. It's not normally done, but it did happen. That Vito Rizzuto was a tough guy. He even came down to New York when they did some work in the Gravano family. He was one of the guys. So yeah, I do know of him. I never knew him personally, but.
Thank you, Amina.
Sure.
Code Red in the chat says, Sammy, I still hold on to the grudge of the doctor that smacked my ass as a baby when I was born.
You must have a lot of grudges then.
Betty Ann has entered the chat.
There's my girl.
There she is.
That's my girl.
Carol Biondo with the envelope for you, Sammy. No question, no comment. Just a weekly toss-up to the
Thank you so much.
Our Thing TV platform, John would love a shout out for his beautiful daughter, her 21st birthday. She's in Australia.
What's her name?
Her name is, there is no name.
All right. Happy birthday to, what's his name?
John.
To John's daughter. From me to you, sweetheart. Happy 21st birthday. Oh, those are beautiful numbers. I mean, you're just starting your life, sweetheart. Go easy and enjoy your life. Take one step at a time. No pressure. You're so young. You got a good life, ahead of you. So, God bless.
Fat Irish in the super chat. Sammy, Phil Leonetti said his family had to kick money to the mob boss in Sicily. Did the Gambinos do the same? Also, do you know what year Castellano was made?
I don't know the year Castellano was made. It was probably before 1955 because the books were closed. He was made before that. No, we do not kick money to Italy, to Sicily, or to anywhere. They're made members. We respect them. If we know who they are, we respect them as a friend of ours, as a made guy. But their rules in Italy are different than our rules. When you're made here and the saint is burnt in your hand here, then you belong to us no matter what family, what state you're in. But outside the country, they're not our families. We don't, we respect them, but we don't honor them in any way with money or anything. We do favors. We may do murders back and forth for each other. But we don't give money to outsiders. Even when they come from Italy, we know they're here. We respect them, but they don't have the same respect of a made guy here. We're a different family. We're a different, we're the same Cosa Nostra, different guidelines. They have different rules than we have. I don't want to go through all the rules, but there's a lot of rules that are different. They have the right to deal the drugs. We don't. We did early time, then it was stopped. They could pimp off women. We're not allowed to be pimps. There's a lot of different rules that we have. They use bombs to kill. We're not allowed to use bombs. It happened occasionally, but the rule is no bombs. And I know my friend Frankie DeChico was killed with a bomb, but it was a sneak, fucked up piece of work. And we don't allow that. So there's a lot of different rules, and we don't honor everything they say or do. They'd have to ask permission to do certain things with us. So there's no money transacted. Probably if it was drugs coming in and went to people here, that's the way they, make money with each other. But there's no kick up to them. No.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. Vinny Suits in the chat. Sammy, do you remember the restaurant name, your restaurant name on 92nd by entrance to Veronzo Bridge?
the Verrazano Bridge. You got me cornered. Yes, I used to go there. I didn't own it, but I used to go there a lot. I would come back from New York with John Gotti rather late. I would call up my wife. I'd have Big Louie or somebody pick up my wife, bring her to that restaurant. Of course, she lived in Staten Island. I would meet her there. For the life of me, right this second, I can't remember the name of it. But yes, I remember the restaurant. And you got out of it was right on the fucking bridge. You know, it was right where the ramp was. So we would come out, get on the ramp, zoop, right back to Staten Island. I don't remember the name.
Nice. Vinny Suits also said, Sammy, I just left L&B Pizza and passed the Plaza Suite. Missed those days.
Oh yeah, L&B Pizza was great, and yes, it was right near the Plaza Suite. Yeah, that was a great pizzeria. Listen, in New York, there's so many pizzerias that were great, but L&B was great. I used to buy there all the time.
It's got a thin crust, the New York style.
Yeah.
So this is a great question from rthing.tv from Polly C. Sammy, did Toto and John Gotti have a relationship prior to the Castellano hit? And did you ever see them interact as captains? I've been watching your YouTube videos literally every day for the last three years, and thank you so much.
Yeah, my Toto had no relationship with John Gotti whatsoever. Of course, they were made in the same family, so there's a total respect and stuff like that. Toto was a captain. John Gotti became a captain. And right after the Paul Castellano hit, Toto stepped down as a captain and asked Frankie DeChico and John Gotti to make me a captain and take over his crew. And Toto would be a member under me. And that's what we did.
Kay Walker is asking, based on the tapes, if you and John stayed free, do you think you two would eventually been at war with each other?
There's a lot of signs that I didn't like. You know, I'm a hit guy, I'm a thinker, and there's a lot of signs that I didn't like. If I would have really got it in my head that John was backdooring me, I found out when I was in jail through the tapes. But if I would have ever caught wind of that, I would have killed him. There's no question in my mind. I don't think there's any question in anybody's mind. And I think sooner or later, either I would have killed him or he would have killed me. He became jealous and envious of me. I don't know why. It just don't make sense to me. He was better looking than me. He had more money than me. He was the boss. What the fuck are you jealous of me for? When I'm bringing in a ton of money, I'm super loyal to you. But I think there was a tape where he said, Sammy's become so powerful, he can get rid of me and take over in 3 minutes. So I think that was on his mind. And now, if I would have known those things were happening behind my back, I would have killed him. So either I would have never found out and he would have killed me, or I would have killed him for sure. It wouldn't have lasted. The marriage was, when we went in prison in 1990, was starting to break up before we even went in. When we went in and I heard the tapes and everything that was going on, yeah, the divorce was in full bloom.
Thank you, Sammy. Super chat just in from Bill Curtis. Great question. On 9/11, you said you were in prison in NYC. What was going through your mind as a real New Yorker? Could you even believe what had just happened? Shock and rage? Thanks.
Shock and rage was probably the least of it. I was blown away. You know, I'm still an American. So I was in prison, pending my case and everything. But it just blew me away. The prison is only a mile and a half, whatever it is. You could smell it in the air. They locked us down. We heard it on the news. Even the guards would chat with us and bullshit what happened, so we knew what was going on. We would go to rec on the roof. It was an 11-story building, so when you're on the roof, it's like 12 stories up in the air. And it was odd. The first time I came out, you were able to look and see those towers way over this building. when it came out and turned, looked, there was no buildings. It just, what an eerie feeling it gave. Instead of us playing ball or walking around, handball or whatever, basketball or whatever we were doing, nobody did nothing. We just stood there in silence. And the guards the same way. They hung with us like they were inmates. It rocked everybody in the prison, I believe. And it was a very, very eerie time. Then, of course, we got newspapers and family members who was telling us what was going on. It was very eerie, and it was, I almost felt like, I was a military guy. I almost felt like, let me out of jail, let me go back in the military. I'll go fight for the country. It gave that kind of vibe to me, and I think I got to speak for everybody, black, white, Hispanic, I don't give a fuck who they were. Everybody felt the same way. Those bombs hurt this country and hurt everybody. Black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, everybody. So I think everybody was in harmony with that, and I think the country came together as one. You didn't hear nothing about racism or anything again. Crime rate went down. People was fucking angry about what these people did, and were together in that thought. It made us like brothers. It was the only good thing that came of it, that it made us real tight. I remember that. So, it rocked me. It did. Like I said, I was in the military, in the Army for a couple of years during the Vietnam War. It rocked me. And I got family out there, and then you started hearing the numbers. I think the numbers went to 3,200, over 3,000 people killed in one day. People on planes, they hijacked planes, crashed. Well, the people crashed the plane because they heard it. They knew that was going to go into a building, so they just didn't want to kill other people. They killed themselves to protect other people. Look what the fuck we were then and what we are now. I mean, it was beautiful. It was a nightmare, but in a way, it brought us together in a beautiful, beautiful way to protect one another. So, men, women, everything. It was really a crazy time.
They said the last words, I think, on the black box or one of the phone calls back to the family was the men in that plane that were going to take over the terrorists. He goes, I'm going to cry. He goes, let's roll.
Right.
Because they're like, but you're not going to fuck with us. You're not going to, this is America. It was just so like, damn.
And when they did that, they know they're going to die. They're going to crash the plane. So they all knew on that plane that they were going to die. Then another plane crashed into the military thing, the Pentagon, and then the two World Trade Centers. I mean, that was a hell of a time period.
I mean, those
I wish people could think back about that. I love that question of where that came from, because I wish people could think about that, what we were and how we got together. I wish they could do that again. We're in a war now. We're in an internal war. We're being defeated by our own liberal elites, corporations, whatever the fuck it is. I don't want to get into all of that now. And I wish we would get together again and fight these people who are trying to destroy us.
Amen. Well, Philip Booth on ourthing.tv said, I am loving the channel, boss. It just gets better and better. Congratulations to you and the crew. I just wanted to let you know how much I enjoyed the bullpen, and what's happening to our children is pure evil. And anyone who denies that is even more evil. You should watch Sean Ryan's podcast with Jim Casaville. It's epic, and keep up the great work.
Yes, I went to see the movie, my whole team, we all went to see the movie. Every one of us walked out, dead silence. We didn't even talk to each other for a minute or two. What's going on in our country is disgusting. And again, I don't want to get political right now, but I'm going to say, what's crazy is that we know what's going on with the drugs, with taking kids, all of these things. Now, we know this. We're not doing anything. We're not picketing, we're not marching in a peaceful way. I'm not talking about anything violent. And if you notice is going on and you're not stopping it, then you're complicit in it. So this is where, when you know drugs is coming across the country, children are being brought back and forth across the border, why don't you shut the border? Why don't you do these things? Now, this isn't just, it's his job or it's none of our business. It is our business. We vote these fucking pieces of shit in, and it's their business to protect us. That means our children, our women, our older people. And you're not doing that. So I don't know why we're sitting still about it. I mean, I would really, I prefer to, on my show on OurThing.tv, I do a show, like I said, with Michael Cassavetti and Michael Vecchione, I'm sorry, and Jay Dyer, and Anna and myself, and I talk about this freely and openly. If you're not on that channel, go on that channel, check it out, listen to what we're talking about. Every Friday it comes out on that, and I'm not held back from what we're talking about it and who's to blame for it and everything else, these shots and everything that's going on. There's so many issues, it's incredible, and I hear people, we have to reduce our population, and it just drives me crazy, because I want to be in the audience and I want to stand up and say, okay, I'm a mafia dude. I understand how we're going to reduce a population. We're going to shoot them? How are you going to reduce the population? How? Pandemics? What are you going to do to reduce the population? Give an answer. Don't just say we're going to reduce the population. How? So, all right, let's go on with another question, because I'll get crazy in this area.
Save it for Wednesday, Sammy. So Jay Marie, a loyal, great supporter. Congratulations on your success, boss. I'm getting a 30-minute chat from the store soon and can't wait to have an intellectual gangster chat with you.
Well, I'm ready to chat. I chat, and I'm looking forward to that chat with you. Sounds like you're a smart woman, and I would love that.
It's a man.
It's a man?
Yeah, Jose.
Oh, Jose. I thought she says...
Marie. Jose Marie.
Oh, she say, I heard Marie. All right, Jay Marie. Jay, I'm willing to talk to you, too. Even though you're not a woman.
Hi, Sammy. You sent me a card from my father, Everett Packer, who passed away last year. I will never forget that. Thank you, Amina, for delivering my message to Sammy. You're a beautiful person, and God bless you both.
Thank you so much. Amina didn't do it. I did it. No, she put the stamp of approval. Listen, not much gets past Amina when you just get in touch with her. She's on the money. She's a workhorse. She jumps on it, and pitches. She makes me say things on the pitch. I don't usually say things. She gets a request, and I say, listen, I just signed my name. I don't sign all these things. And then she's like with that little, come on, Sammy, and I wind up doing it. So she's great. You guys stay in touch with her. She's great.
Thank you, Amina. So Dale from OurThing.tv chatted you, Sammy, and he said, in the history of the mafia, has a woman ever been made or put in a position of power?
They have it in the movies. I heard Michael Franchi saying they do that in Italy. I really don't know if that's true. I think it's bullshit. But no, in the United States, we never made a woman. We cherish our woman. Street gangs, a lot of times, they'll make a woman a gang member. We cherish our women. We look up to them. We hold them in esteem. We don't want to put them in trouble. A lot of times we don't talk to them about our crimes. I never talked to my wife about my crimes or stuff like that, not because I didn't trust her, but because I wanted her, if she was ever questioned, to honestly answer, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So we protect them that way. It's not disrespect, it's more respect. Not to make them know or not to make them part of anything like that. Our women are good women. They stick by us. They're strong. It's not that they don't have the balls to be like us. They probably do. A lot of them are really good, tough women. And they go through a lot of shit being married to people like us. So we hold them in high esteem, but we don't want to drag them into the life. I don't want to see women, my wife, my daughter, or other people's wives or daughter. I love them too. I don't want to see them go to prison. So I really want to keep them separate. They're to be mothers, wives, to be honored and respected and treated right. I don't even want them to be treated bad. And I broke up with my wife. I'm divorced since 1991. She's sick right now with COPD, and I still help her, take care of her. Even though we're divorced, I'll take her to dinner if she wants to get out. I'll go over the house. I don't even like when people have a nasty divorce, especially in the mafia. They live a tough life, just like we do. We go to prison. They don't go to prison, but they wait and they fight and they stand on lines to come on visit. They do a lot of things, and we have to honor that. And but I don't really think that we have them in life. I've never seen them. I've never sat down with a woman. I've sat down with a woman if she had an argument or a beef with somebody or came for help. I would sit down with a woman and try to help her or her situation. I'll give you an example. There's a woman that came to my door. My wife answered the door and she says, "There's a young woman here." And I went to the door. I knew her from the neighborhood. And her husband, they got married. I knew the husband. I didn't see them for a couple of years. And the husband went to prison, and she brought a car into a place to be serviced. They told her like $100. By the time she came, they asked her for $500 or $600. I knew the dealer, who it was, a collision place, and it was with Louis Melito. Louis Melito was in jail. I went to go see him. I said, "Listen, bro, you told him 100, and then you charge him 500, 600. He said, "Sammy, that's what we do in our business." No, you're not robbing this fucking woman. Her husband's in jail. Get the real price. What's the real price? I would be really two and change. I gave him the 2 and change. Give her the fucking car tomorrow. No charge for her. And if she comes back with the car, if something's wrong with it, I'm telling you, fix the fucking thing. There's no charge. If it's a legitimate charge, come and see me. But just do this fucking woman a favor. Her husband's in jail. Stop fucking robbing fucking people like that. And I fixed that problem. That's what you do in the mafia. That's what you do. If you're any kind of a man, that's what you do. There's a lot of slime balls in their life. Not a lot, but there are some. But not everybody. The life is a good life with a lot of good people, a lot of good men, a lot of people who help. Tato would help people in the neighborhood. Every other day there was somebody he was helping. So I knew Anthony Spiro was the consigliere. He was on Bath Avenue, had a pigeon coop. Everybody in the neighborhood knew him. Everybody went to him for favors. I don't think he turned away anybody, ever. I actually owed him money when I was a kid. I couldn't pay him. I stopped coming around. He called me. He said, "Listen, Sammy, you're a young kid. If you owe me money, don't duck me. Come around. Just tell me you can't pay me. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to do anything. We'll double up next week or whatever. Don't worry about it." He's that type of guy, and he was like that with everybody, not just me. So there was a lot of good guys in the mafia.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. The Boz in the super chat. What was Little Vic Amuso like?
Little Vic Amuso he was a tough guy. He was the boss. Gas Pipe was his underboss. He was in the Lucchese family. I dealt with him. I had no problems with him. He was a little bit of an oddball, to tell you the truth. He was quiet. He was a little bit of an oddball. Gas pipe, I think, controlled him. A lot of times I would break gas pipes' balls. I grew up with gas pipe. I knew him very well. So he would tell me, Sammy, I'm not the boss. I said, stop the bullshit. You're the boss. I know you're the boss. What do you? He does what you tell him. So let's do this. Let's fix this problem and this and that. Don't use him as an excuse. So, but he was a little bit of an oddball, to tell you the truth. But I liked him. I got along good with him. Well, maybe because I'm a little bit of an oddball, so I guess we got along. But he was a tough guy, and he was the boss. So I don't know much more to say about him.
Thank you. JB Weld in the super chat. Can I please get a shout out to my uncles Mark and Al? They're old codgers, but good guys. What's a codger?
I don't know what
Cougars?
Yeah. All right. What's his name? Mark and Al? Mark and Al. Hey, bro. Here's a shout out to you guys. And you guys are old timers, so am I. So, bon appetit. Buona salute. Live 100 years.
Trapper 27. Good afternoon, Skipper. No question, just an envelope for Lily.
Oh, for Lily. Lily, did you hear that? Her tail she hears her name, her tail starts wagging. I love that.
Francisco Horna, did you know Bobby Luisi from the Petrarca family?
I didn't really know him. I knew of him. I know the name. I didn't really know him. I really didn't have any real transactions. So there's not much for me to say about him, but I knew his name.
We've got about 5 minutes left, Sammy. Let's see. Arthing.tv platform from Mike Sadar. Hey, Sammy, love what you're doing. You said in a couple previous live Q&As that the mob isn't committing murders these days, which is good. My question is, have you heard how guys are making their bones these days to get made?
I really don't. It's more kissing ass, I think, than shooting somebody. I don't know. They have a business. I did time. I'll go by this. I did time with some guys who offered the button to become made, and they refused. So I said, "What did they want you to do?" They told me. They said no more killing. That's number one. What you do, you go in business, whether it's the stock market or all these scams in construction or whatever, and you kick up an envelope, and we'll help you whenever we can. That's it. That's what they want is an envelope, and that's it. And and you abide by whatever rules they have. Listen, in a way I knock it. It's just not the same. But in a way, I don't knock it. They're smart not to use violence. They take less heat. They get less time when they get in trouble. So in a way, it's a good thing. I don't know how they can control certain people. If they lose control, they have to throw them out and not recognize them no more, which is a punishment. But the mafia is nothing like it was back in the 60s and 70s and even before, or 80s and 90s. After that, I think it really made a U-turn. It changed. There's so many cooperators. So many people have phones and cameras. There's cameras all over the place. I don't blame them. If you're going to do crimes, especially heavy shit, you're going to jail. And you're going to go to jail. The laws have changed for tons of years, if not life. And you're going to die in prison. So I think they made a smart move. It just don't have the grip and the power that it had. And I think that's what makes it fascinating with the stories. I'm talking with Nick Pileggi's a friend of mine. He's writing some of my stuff that I'm going to do. He's a great guy, a legend in Hollywood. He's wrote all the big movies, Goodfellas, and all the big stuff. And he says the same thing. It's just not the same. And it makes the past, my story, and other people's stories. Very interesting because it was a time and an era. You know, it's like a Jesse James movie. You see a Jesse James movie, wow, how it was back then. And I think the Mafia get that same look. You know, it's what it was, not what it is now, what it was. And I think it makes it more attractive to the audience, to the movie people and everybody like that, because it just don't happen no more. A lot of these problems, like you see what's going on in New York, there's riots, there's all kinds of shit going on. And I saw Michael Franchise did a video, and he said, you know, when I was back in the street, these things wouldn't happen. I agree with him 10,000%. You couldn't have came into our neighborhood, had rioted, looted, and did all kinds of shit. It would have never happened. You would have left on a stretcher. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. You know, as bad as we were, we protected our neighborhoods because it was our people, our families, our friends, our neighbors. We wouldn't allow this bullshit to happen. And it's especially with kids now, there's no way. So, you know, you couldn't do that. I remember the Son of Sam, there was a guy running around shooting people. Now, I was a young dude back then, and I remember the whole neighborhood. I'm talking about mafiosos, gang members, everybody was looking for this fucking guy who was killing innocent people parked in a lover's lane, making love. This asshole would come and shoot the two of them or shoot one of them. I remember being with a girl, and while that was going on, I was parked in a lover's lane, and I had a fucking 38 in my pants while I was making love. Every time I'm fucking around with her, I'm looking out the windows, my head is turned, and I'm thinking of this fucking asshole running around. The last thing I want to do is get shot in the head while I'm getting a blowjob. So I mean, remember the whole thing. So, but that was those days. It was different. It was really, really different in so many different ways. Even when it was corrupt, there was a corrupt it was almost like it was corrupt in a good way, if that makes any sense at all. Today, when they rob these and they do things, they don't give a fuck who's dying. They give them shots and this and that. They don't care whose wife, daughter, kid dies from these things. They don't care. You know, you want to steal. Take a little bite and enjoy the money. Yeah, go fuck yourself. But to not care about what you're doing, to grab billions and not care how many people you're hurting by it, this is a different kind of an animal. Mafia people would kill people like that back then, but nothing's happening with them no more. But you wouldn't be able to get away with things like that. I remember a church got robbed in my neighborhood. The church was so wealthy, they had real diamonds on the saints. They were way up in the air. A couple of times I even thought, wow, I could just come in here when it's closed and rob these fucking stones, diamonds and rubies. But it was never touched. One time, somebody broke into the church at night and stole those diamonds. 3 days, I think it was, those fucking diamonds and rubies were back in that church. The mafia went berserk. There was word out, find out who did that. And when they did find out, they got the stuff back. And they brought it to the church. And the next Sunday you went, boom, all them diamonds and rubies were on it again. It was never touched again. That's a different kind of mentality. And these are crooks and gangsters, you want to call them whatever you want to call them. Murderers, whatever you want to call them. But they cared about things like that. They cared about an old age home or a children's home or something. I mean, they cared. They saw a woman being bothered by a bunch of kids. Man, they would step to the plate, and we would step to the plate in 2 minutes flat. Oh, whoa, what are you doing? She's over here with a baby shower. Get the fuck out. We give them a boot in the ass. So the kids didn't grow up like that. They didn't do things like that. I mean, I never did. We would hang out 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Some old lady, and you couldn't blame her. She's screaming, get the fuck out and go home. They were loud. We would go across the street in the Utrecht schoolyard. But we never yelled back at her. Now, today, a woman does that, the kid will shoot at her, throw a shot. And that didn't, as bad as we were, that's not even a thought in your mind. She's right. Let's walk into the schoolyard. And if we did something stupid, there'd be guys wanting to put their foot up your ass. We knew that too. So you didn't do certain things. It was a different time, a different era, different people. So it's hard to answer some of these questions because the whole country has changed. I mean, change is inevitable. It always changes. You know, you hope it changes for the good. What are you looking at, Lily? You're getting a...
So Betty Ann has given a very generous envelope, and she says, "Buon appetito, heads, Kelly, tails. Emily, either way, babe. Dinner on me."
All right, that sounds good.
Thank you, Betty Ann.
Thank you, Betty Ann. And Betty Ann, be careful with Elgato. Take care of my man. He's a good man. Now, were we supposed to open this champagne?
Pop it open, Sammy. Let's go.
Come on, let's do this.
We're a little after 2. I think it's time.
Yeah, this
Time to go to
is
New York.
this is for this was given us from the advisor because we went over 100 million views this week. I think we're at 100,200,000. So we're well over it. And Amina's going to come here and help me. I got that. Now, what I do, I just hit this cork.
There we go.
Pop it.
Not the first cork you pop, Sammy.
Well, this one's a
There you go.
this one's a bitch altogether. I can't open it.
Wiggle it, wiggle it.
Wiggle it?
Wiggle it.
Everybody's asking for Lily.
Go, Lily. Lily, come
Bring Lily out. I want to see Lily.
Where's Lily?
on. There's Lily.
They were all asking for my Lily. Here she is.
They're telling you to be careful for the cork.
She's looking at me. What are you trying to
She
open?
wants a glass.
All right, here it comes.
Congratulations, Sammy.
Yeah. And here we go.
All right.
That's all we got, just 2 glasses.
Everybody's saying salute.
Salute. And, you know, I don't know if we mentioned that earlier. Did we mention that earlier about doing a new thing? About doing a new, somebody else. Let me do this to the people.
What?
To the people.
To the people. A salud. A salud.
Congratulations to the 100 million. You're getting a lot of love and cheers in the chat, Sammy. Salute. Everybody's saying salute.
Thank you so much. And to drink this, oh my God, it's pretty good. But I don't know, for the people who weren't here earlier, I was at a pool party Saturday, and I got a little drunk. I think I'm still a little drunk. And it's rare for me. I don't drink, but I got a little bummed. This tastes good again.
Hair of the dog?
Huh?
Hair of the dog?
The hair of the dog?
Congratulations on our thing. Life is good, Sammy, from the Alejandres.
Thank you so much. Now listen, guys, when our movies come out, and they're going to come out right after this strike is over, we're going to work. They're chomping at the bit with me. They're telling me, Sammy, get ready. When the strike is over, we want you to come down. We want you to sit down with the directors, the actors, the actresses. I'm in the process right now of picking, who I would like to play different parts. I have a voice in these movies. I was a pain in the ass to deal with, to sign a contract, because I wanted a voice. I didn't want them to just run with it 100 miles an hour without me. I wanted to be a big part of it. When you pick Toto, I loved him. I want somebody who's going to play him. and feel him. And my part, they're telling me, you have to sit with the director. You have to sit with the writers, of course. You have to sit with the actors and actresses and talk to them and understand. Alec Baldwin told me when I was talking with him, when you're an actor or an actress, you have to have the it. I didn't understand that. So what do you mean, the it? You have to become that person. Now, becoming that person is, you see the way I talk, I use my hands when I talk, my head, how I tilt, how I move, how I do everything. So I have to sit with the guy who's going to play me. He's got to talk to me, just like you guys are talking to me. Feel me, understand me, see when I get aggravated or I'm mad, how I change, my expressions, my hand movement, everything. And if he's a great actor, if we pick a good actor, a great actor, of course, it's going to be. And the same thing with the guy who plays Johnny Keys. Well, Johnny Keys is dead, but I could tell him all about Johnny Keys. And so I want them to become me and become Johnny Keys when they do this movie. So, and I'm going to have a big part in that, talking with them, preparing them. We're going to eat manigotta. Delgado will understand that manigotta. That's macaroni, manigotta. So if I see the actor saying, let's go eat manicotti, I'm going to jump up to the director. What the fuck did he just say? What's manicotti? What is that? No, manigotta. I'll be over there breaking their balls. And I'll have some laughs with them. But I want this movie to come out right. The same thing with my scripted show and a few other things that we're doing. I want a full involvement in them. I'm not going to break balls. They can pick who they want to pick. They're smarter than me. They know more than me. But I really want to make sure that it's done and done right. So I enjoy doing that anyway. So I'm going to have fun with this. But we're waiting for this writer's strike to be over. And I'm going to be jumping in with them, doing a lot of talking and a lot of, stuff. And matter of fact, when I was at this pool party, some of the people there, a woman who's a lawyer, and she just moved here from another state. She's a corporate lawyer. And she says, I heard you were in a movie. I said, in the Salvatore? She said, yes. So we went in the back, away from the party, the noise, and we sat way in the back. And I took Anna's phone and I was showing her. She was looking at it. She was loving it while I was loving her fucking face, to tell you the truth. But
Beautiful.
she was beautiful, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the phone froze. And she says, oh, I just got interested in it. Could we get this going? And we couldn't get it going. So, what was her name? Jasmine?
Jasmine.
Jasmine, if you could hear this, I don't know if you'll get this. I'm going to get that video. It's going to be a special little gift from me to you. I'm going to give you that video so you can see it. But don't be a tight ass. Join on our thing, .tv. You're a lawyer. You could afford $4.99 a month, right? So... And there's going to be a lot more stuff. There's going to be a couple of more movies that I may be in. Amina was in a movie, and she did a great job. I mean, really, really great job. She was a female assassin. The Mexicans, they had sicarios, and the women who were hit women were sicarios. And she did a great job. I watched parts of it. She blew me away. She really did a great job. The director or did something, not the director, the owner or something, got it hung up. It didn't come out. It may come out soon. But she did a great job. And now I'm thinking of doing a movie about that I meet this Mexican woman, and she tells me about where Chapo buried money, and I get in touch with all these ex-mafiosos who did the same thing as me, and they're all over the country, and I called them in, and we're going to meet, and I have this little love affair with Anna, who's a Mexican broad, not Mayana, who is also a Mexican, but it might be. I mean, I'm thinking of that, and we have this little love affair, and then we're going to do this robbery of the money and the cartels, and it's really it's an exciting idea. I have Hollywood people interested in the idea already, so me and Amina have to practice our roles and stuff like that. What? What?
What?
What are you laughing at?
Practice?
Yeah, we got to practice. I mean, what the role is going to be. She's afraid I'm going to stick my tongue in her face.
Oh my God.
So,
We need to hire an intimacy coordinator.
yes,
Yeah, Sammy.
an intimacy, yeah, he could say whatever he wants while I'm pointing the gun at him. So, but anyway, I might do movies like that, and I'm considering it very, very strongly. And like I said, I can't wait to get started into that end of it. I'm going to have a call with James Carroll today. I'm expecting a call with him today. And James is a great guy. I really I have such a great relationship with him. You know, we talk to each other on the holidays and all kinds of things. And I can't wait to have a call with him today, and we'll see when we're going to start this remake of our thing. If we're going to do a final season and then the remake, or just go right for the remake, I'm not sure. But and that will definitely be on OurThing.tv. So all these things are planned for there. And I know if you join it now, it might be a little weak in the content department, but I'm working on a ton of stuff. If you get on there, enjoy what's there, and more will come in. I'm going to put everything on there because I can talk like I want, say what I want, do what I want. Some of these movies, like a small movie like that, the Anna with the cartels, that'll be on that platform. It might get bought, but it's going to be on my platform anyway. So a lot of things like that.
Someone in the chat asked if you were going to cast Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal?
Does he still have to kick back?
No, I'm not going to cast Steven Seagal. I mean, I would cast him like as a character that, you know, where I know I'm going to shoot the guy. So I put him in the movie. I have him there for a scene or two. We shoot him, we get rid of him. But no. Well, I haven't, you know, I saw something about him just recently, and he's a big whale of a guy now, big fat whale, and he was, I don't know, slapping and fighting people, like showing cops how to fight. I don't know. He became, I think, a total weirdo to me. He's a big motherfucker. I should shut up. He's liable to see me one day choking shit out of me. All right, guys, listen, I would love to stay, but I'm going to finish my champagne, get a little something to eat, and it's time for me to go. So
Hit the likes.
hit the likes. I'm getting my thing. Hit the likes before we go. Come on, give the girls. Let me hear this. Did it go up since I said hit the like?
No, we need likes. There's over 700 people in here.
And you got 18 likes?
And we got 319.
Oh, 319. Come on. Everybody loves somebody sometime. Everybody wants to give me likes sometime. Are we getting more likes?
It's up to 350 now.
All right. So we went up a little bit with me singing. Now, what else could I sing to get more likes? Somebody to text the girls. What do you want me to sing?
Let's see.
Song request.
Song request, guys. What do you guys got?
What do you want me to sing?
There she was, just a walking down the street.
No, I can't sing that hip hop. You want me to sing a hip hop song? No. No, I can't sing that. What's that song I used to like?
Pizza pie. When you and Anthony were singing.
Yeah,
it
oh my God, that was
epic.
so funny.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
What's the one I like with the Righteous
My
Brothers?
Way.
Oh,
With
Pennies from Heaven.
with the Righteous Brothers.
Unchained Melody.
Yeah, what was that?
And time goes by.
Yeah, I can't hit those kind of notes.
Sing WAP. That Irish
Somebody said sing wow.
Why?
Exactly.
What's why? I never heard that.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah, we'll leave that there, yeah.
It's a Cardi B song. Pennies from Heaven? It's a good
Everybody loves somebody sometime.
Cheers, Sammy. Congratulations on the 100 mil.
Yeah. Cheer.
Mille.
100 mil. 100 mil, 200,000. Now, when do we break open another bottle?
Right after that one's finished.
all right, sounds
In the
good.
fridge.
I'm gonna be hitting that champagne. So, guys, adios. And I'm not gonna say what I normally say, even though you are motherfuckers, my motherfuckers. Adios, motherfuckers. Hey guys, you saw I killed that champagne, and I'm drinking this one now. So listen, a couple of questions came up that I wasn't asked that I would like to answer. I like to give you guys an answer, and I'll tell you why I don't answer certain things. And so let me tell you about what was the question with A-Light.
Okay, so the question was from AR-15 Aimpoint. He asks, Sammy, John A-Light brought up the $3,000 he loaned you yesterday on a podcast. I asked him to, since you don't respond to that same question I asked you 20 times last week. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, about A-Light giving me $3,000 last week I've never heard of something so fucking ridiculous. But listen, my friend, I know why you asked that question. You're a puppy for A-Light, a flunky. And you come to me with a stupid-ass question about him wanting to get paid his $3,000 or whatever you're asking. First of all, why the fuck would I ask him for $3,000? I have good people giving me money. I have money on my own. I'm doing big things. Why would I ask for $3,000 from him? So I know why, and I'm going to tell my people why. It's for me to answer this stupid-ass fucking question so that A-Light can do a video and use my name. I was talking about him. He owes me $3,000. So he can get views. He can't get views. So my answer to him or anybody else is stop lying, stop bullshitting, and maybe you'll get views. People are not stupid. They'll listen to you for a while, but they'll know when you're honest and sincere. So if you want to get views, tell the fucking truth. I don't owe him $3,000. I'm not crazy about A-Light. I don't dislike him, but I am not crazy about him. When his daughter passed away, she OD'd, and somebody said something negative. Even though I didn't like him, I jumped out and did a video right away. And I said, that's not goes on. So we don't fuck with somebody's families. His daughter died. Get the fuck off his back. Stop saying negative shit. So that was my answer. That's when I did respond to A-Light and whatever. And in the beginning, I did talk with him. When we stopped talking, we didn't have an argument, I don't think, but we stopped talking. I'm not into bullshit. I'm not into talking about bullshit. And, a lot of things that came out of his mouth and they talked about, I didn't agree with. I call it bullshit, and I don't want to be bothered with it. There's a lot of guys on YouTube that say a lot of things, and I know the motive is you respond, I respond, my people go listen, it's an argument back and forth. That's how you get views. I don't need them that way. I have stories. I have legitimate stories, and I tell the truth. And when I have people ask me questions, I respond to them as best as I can. If you take notice, a lot of times I'll say I really don't know, or I don't know those people, or whatever, or I never heard of the guy or something. And I think people respect that. I don't come out and start, I batted 300 people. I never hit nobody. I hit somebody with a bat when I was a kid. I didn't hit people with bats. I didn't do these things. So I'm not going to get in the midst of all of that crap. So go back and say, look, A-Light, I got him to say something. Now you could do a video saying, Sammy talked about me and whatever. If that's what his motive is, if that's him, if you're representing him with these stupid-ass questions. Nobody in the world would believe that I owe him $3,000. I don't owe anybody any money, let alone owing him $3,000. And I wouldn't borrow $3,000 from him. I would go out of business before I would borrow $3,000 off of him. First of all, $3,000 wouldn't help me in any way, shape, or form. So the whole idea of what you're asking, you asked me 20 times, I don't really want to tell you to go fuck yourself. If you're a legitimate fan of mine, stay on. If you're not, change the channel. Go listen to somebody else. Go listen to him. It's your man. Go listen to him. And I'm not telling you not to believe it or to believe it. I could give a fuck less. So that's why I don't answer him. I'm telling my people, not you, whatever your name is, but my people. That's why I don't answer him. Then there was another question. I want to ask me that question too about Anthony, Fat Dom's son.
Yep.
Ask me that question too.
The Argo show asked, Tony Pizza said, Fat Andy's son never met you till he paid you $5K for a picture and content. Is this true?
Argo? An Argo?
Argo show.
Argo, fuck yourself. Because I remember saying that as a kid. Argo, fuck yourself. Argo, fuck yourself. Listen, Anthony is a fucking man's man and a tough guy. And he is Fat Andy's son. I knew of Fat Andy. I always said I never knew him that well. He came down and talked to me about a construction thing one time when Anthony was very young. Anthony brought it up to me. I didn't bring it up to him. Number one. Number two, he never gave me any money for anything. I never asked him for any money. He never gave me any money. I don't know if I gave him a picture. I think I did give him a picture. And I gave him that picture out of friendship. And I did a whole show with him that I'm in the process of. We did the show already. I'm editing it. It was a great fucking show. And I was so comfortable with him. You know why I was comfortable with him? Because he's a fucking man's man. And I'm very comfortable with guys like that. Good guys who tell the truth. He was a friend of John Gotti's, and we talked, and I was a friend of John Gotti's too. I love the guy, but things happened and whatever. And he agreed. We talked, and it was a beautiful show, and it's going to come out on ourthing.com. So if you want to watch that, you can watch it. It's going to come out. I'm not sure when. I think I saw the rough cut. And I was talking to Anthony this morning. I sent him, I said, I watched the rough cut. It was really done well. Anthony, I really like it. I really wanted the color to be a little bit better. I'm asking the editor if he can make the color a little better. There was a few points where I was blah, blah, blah. I wasn't talking properly, so I'm going to cut that out. No, he never gave me any money. I never asked him for any money. And you know what was funny? I'm going to tell you about this. When we were talking, I knew about a story. He didn't know that end of it. But he knew their end, Tony Lee and Fat Dom. And he started talking. We knew two different ends of it. It was a pleasure listening to it. It was a pleasure listening to what Fat Andy and Tony Lee thought and was talking in front of him. So me and him talking, we had a great conversation. I love the guy. I did a video with him, and I'm going to do more with him. Because he's not a fucking weasel. He's not a jerk-off. He's not what some of these people are who bullshit. He's straight to the point, and I like that about him. He's tough. He's real, and he's right to the point. So I had a great conversation with him, and I hope I have many more conversations with him. And those two questions, I'm not ducking those questions. I don't get into it because I don't want to get involved in other people's stuff or debates or stuff like that. And like I like to bring out one more time with the thing with A-Light, I don't dislike him. I don't hate him. I wish him the best. But if he owed me $3,000, if I owed him $3,000, and anybody, or if he thinks that, bro, I'm in Arizona. Come and collect your fucking money. I don't duck fucking people. You think you want something from me? Come and get it. Bro, I'm here. I don't duck nobody. I don't bullshit nobody. And I'll tell you right where the fuck I am. Come and visit me. And we could talk. But I'm going to tell you one thing. If you have a legitimate talk and a legitimate argument with me, I could talk all day long. But if you come here like a fake motherfucker, expect to have a fucking war with me, bro. I don't back away from nothing. Ever in my fucking life. So it's not a threat. I'm just telling you how I think and how I am. So I wanted to jump back in. I'm on my second glass of champagne. I'm not drunk yet. So this isn't drunk shit coming out of my mouth. This is still normal. One glass of champagne don't do it.
No, it doesn't.
So this is the second one. So you guys there and anybody who's a fucking flunky ass motherfucker, don't come here with bullshit. I have good people on my channel, a ton of them, and I respect them. And I want you to mind your fucking business. Stay away from them. I'll stay away from you and your people. Stay away from me and my people. Don't come out with poison or bullshit or something. Come out with legitimate questions, and I answer them. You see, I don't back away from questions. I answer as many as I can answer. And what I don't know, I tell the truth. I don't know it, or I do know it. I don't need to lie. I don't need to bullshit to get people on board. I have enough stories that I'm holding back stories because there's producers and directors and people want to talk to me about things they don't want me to talk about. I got more than enough to talk about. I don't have to make things up. Now, I could forget something and you could say, oh, he was lying. Yeah, it happened 50 years ago. You're right. I was lying. I wasn't lying. I made a mistake. But, you know, and that's what the remake of our thing is. There's 3.5 years ago I started this. And not only a lot more that I remember, but some guys, my people, I'm going to call them, my family, my friends, have told me things, and I said, you want to know something? I'll be a motherfucker. He's right. I forgot all about that. So now I'm using that. Those people helped me to remember even more. So my remake, I think, is going to be a hell of a lot better than if you like the original, that brought us to 100 million fucking views. So wherever you're coming from, tell them that he's now celebrating 100,200,000 views. He's also celebrating 559 plus, almost 560,000 subscribers. He's involved in 2 movies, maybe 3. So, I don't know the exact word, suck on this. If that's legitimate, suck on this if you don't like it. Here's to suck it on this, bro. I'm gonna go away one more time. Adios.